Hey guys, welcome back into the channel. As always, your host here, Clinton Yoder. Got Cory McClendon, my co-host, riding along here beside me. Man, today we're going to dive into another great topic. We got some great guests coming on today, some real good friends of mine, all the way back to the school days, man. We're talking 15, 20 years ago. So we're excited to bring them in. We're going to be really diving into the topic of what it's like to be a young business owner, man. These guys have taken on their father's business kind of like I did, Cory, and it's going to be a good topic just to help people see maybe through our lens a little bit, you know, the negative sides, the positive sides, kind of carrying on our father's legacy when it comes to the business and things of that nature. So, man, it's going to be a good episode.
Yeah, these guys dropped some truth bombs on us,
Yes.
some gold nuggets. So stay tuned, check it out, and really dive into this one, especially if you're young. Not even if you're young, 'cause they said some stuff that could help you out if you're maybe a little aging in life. But especially if you're starting a business, definitely tune into this one because these guys really did some great stuff.
Yes, sir. Love you guys. Stick with us. Here's another episode of Yoders Talk. They get shell-shocked into, hold up, I didn't know that this is what it took to run a business. I thought it was just do good at plumbing. You know, the management side of it. And that's where a lot of people get caught up in well, this stress ain't worth the paycheck.
So top-down leadership, just being willing to put in the time, but also caring for your people.
No, I try to see it from their perspective as well, and I try to kind of get on their level. Well, not level. We're all on the same page here.
Right.
We should all be on the same page. We're all pulling for the same goal. But also help them to try to see it from my perspective as well as a business owner, and help them to really see the intricate inner workings of a business and how a business runs.
What's up, guys? Welcome back into the channel. Fired up to get this episode started. Got some good friends coming on today, and really just gets me fired up, Cory, because we're going to be talking about, you know, being young in business and all the craziness that I know I went through, and I know they probably got some good stories as well. So, you feeling good about this one today?
Man, I'm so awesome, and I'm also salivating just a little bit.
Why is that?
Is that they brought us gifts today, so we've got a nice lovely meat tray sitting over there that we're gonna tear into here in just a minute. But I'm so excited to have two really awesome people with us today.
Yes. So today we have Titus Weaver, Stanley Weaver from Weaver's Meat Processing, a local processor here. They been good friends of mine for, man, well, we all went to school together.
We did.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we wanted to bring them in because, you know, they are kind of went down the same road I have as far as business wise. Their father started their business. Actually, may have even started prior to their father, but really, and they just kind of took over, transitioned into the owners today. Same way for me and our business, and so I thought it'd be awesome to bring them in today and just really dive into the things of what we have faced being young in business, the crazy decisions we made at times, the mistakes we made, and I think y'all as listeners will really enjoy understanding maybe what it takes and the things that we face. So Stanley Weaver here, Titus Weaver here, man. I'll start with you, Stanley. Kind of introduce yourself and kind of maybe go a little bit into what Weaver Meat Processing is, and and then we'll pass it over to Titus. So,
Well, first off, thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
It's an honor to be on y'all's podcast. Y'all got a beautiful setup here. And, well, I'm Stanley Weaver. I am the co-owner along with Titus of Weaver Meat Processing. We are a third-generation meat processor. My grandfather started a Weaver Meat Processing in Dallas County, Alabama, and did beef, pork, deer, lots of deer. And then my father moved up here. And we're located in Hartselle, so he started it in 1997, and then a couple years ago, Titus and I took it over, and we've been trying to run with it ever since. You know, it's been kind of a It's got its challenges, but
Yeah.
it's been good. It's
Yeah.
been really good.
Good deal. Good deal. Titus,
Yeah.
pass it over to you.
Awesome. Hey, I'm super excited to be here today. My name's Titus Weaver, co-owner of Weaver Meat Processing along with Stanley. So super thrilled about the topic as well. I'm looking forward to diving into this.
Yep.
Because we sure do face our
I'm telling
obstacles
you.
as young guys in business. There's no doubt about that.
What about with you guys being brothers? Is there times where you got to kind of handle things as co-owners like brothers, and maybe just I mean, because I know how I am with. I don't have a brother, but I have the closest thing I have to a brother would be Brandon Lynch, and me and him work at Yoder Metal together. And there's times that, sometimes we get about to the point where we just got to take it out to the gravel. Is there situations like that, or is it kind of y'all are past that, or?
I'd say we're past that for the most part. Sometimes
we
I think
did
we
all
want
that.
to.
Yeah, we did all that growing up.
Yeah.
Got it out of the system.
we hashed it out growing up.
Yeah. It's funny. We were like arch rivals growing up.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that I know what my personality is, and I think I know what Stanley's is. So I would say we definitely have different personalities.
Yeah. And that's a lot of times what makes it work, really. I mean, if you have two the same personality, man, it'll clash. Everything will. You both get very opinionated then when you're very similar in personality. So the only business partner I've ever had it'd be my brother-in-law and my one of my good friends, and we kind of are the same way. We have that different personality, but the truth is, partnerships sometimes can be a little tough.
Absolutely.
Just because there's a side of it where you will do extra, you'll work extra hard because you want to make sure that you do your part, but then there's a side of it where you sometimes question, is the other party bringing what they need to the table? There's them thoughts, and partnerships are tough. I mean, the chances of a partnership outside of family, they say family partnerships are probably the most solid, but outside of that, partnerships, I think is it 75% that end up not making it?
It's high.
Yeah.
It's really high.
Yeah, so
I don't know the exact number, but
Yeah.
I know it's high.
But that's pretty cool, though, that y'all, growing up together, that made a difference, and y'all are able to actually, work well together. What is y'all's different roles, if I may ask, kind of in the business?
So I would be, I guess, the guy that gets a little bit of everything thrown at me. So general management.
Okay.
We're a small company, so I still take care of some of the more mundane tasks on the administrative side of
Gotcha.
things, so bookkeeping, things of that nature, and then just general management.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still in the production side
Okay.
of it, so I cut all the steaks and
All the operation, more the operational side of it.
operational side of it and manage all that.
Okay.
I've got a really good helper.
Yeah.
Shout out Cameron. I know he'll like that.
Yeah.
He does really good.
So you cut all the steaks.
I cut all the steaks. Yeah.
Okay, so
Me and him.
I know who to call. No,
That's right. That's right.
Good
can hook you
stuff.
up.
Good stuff. So yeah, they brought us this meat board here, and man,
Yeah. Speaking of, hand me some stuff.
what do you
over
want?
here.
What
Just,
do you want?
Whatever.
Let's start.
So we got summer sausage with jalapeno and cheese on the end. These are 4 of our main sellers. And then we have snack sticks, regular, and snack sticks with jalapeno and cheese, and then our deer jerky. All these are deer products.
Yeah,
by the
just
way.
yes to everything.
yes to everything. Okay,
Yeah.
let's start with that. There you go.
Yeah. Give me some of that. Sit that there.
Give you that there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take a piece of it. And you want a piece of jerky too?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Can y'all
Oh,
save
sure.
me some deer jerky over
No.
No, Sean.
No.
Sean, you cannot have it.
Hey, I think I'm feeling it too.
What do you
Pass
want?
me- just pass me some sticks there.
Some
I don't
sticks?
care
Some
which
stick?
one. There you go.
We'll pass them around there.
I wash my hands. We're good.
No germs.
Yeah.
That's
Man, that's fantastic.
Yes, it is.
I hadn't had deer jerky in probably about 4 or 5 years.
You know how to make
Yeah.
that happen?
Well, I don't go hunting enough.
Well, I mean, there you go.
I know. What? God, that's so good.
That summer sausage, we've taken actually, to give credit where credit is due, my dad, incredible smoke master. Like, this guy really dialed in the recipes on the summer sausage. And that's kind of what largely built the Weaver name in deer processing. So just the amount of people over the years that have ordered that, it has been off the charts.
So deer season just kicked off, right?
That's right.
And so y'all are really getting into your busy. Is this what you call your busy season? Okay. Well,
Right now is extremely busy because we're finishing up on beef and pork production, but deer have already started coming in. So it's a challenge to kind of blend both of those, because there's definitely some food safety concerns you have to
right.
worry about there.
Yeah.
And
Do y'all have to? Because you can't process together or.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Huh. That's interesting. You mentioned your father. I want to talk a little bit about that. Go into that just a little bit.
No, that's I'm still over here chewing. So you go right ahead.
For kind of talking on from my side of it. When I transitioned to buying out, my father, and he kind of went into semi-retirement. He is kind of the rock that I still, or he's still the mentor that I go to. He's the one that in the time of my young business life, where I just didn't know what steps to take, where to go. He's always he's been that mentor to me. Talk a little bit about your father and what he means to the business. And I know he's still kind of like my father. I think he's probably still involved a little at times and this and that.
He is.
But kind of just talk about what his role is now that y'all are more, and what and on the mentorship side of it, what he means to y'all. So.
Yeah, man, I can't imagine doing business without my father. And sometimes we go back to that partnership dynamic, and I think sometimes it can, if you're not careful, it can be a challenge, even father to son relationships. But then I look in at that dynamic, and I can't imagine doing business without him there by my side. He's been an incredible mentor. My father, everybody has certain skill sets in business, and I think what my father really excels at, one of the things he really excels at, is employee relations with employees, really having a heart and truly caring for the people that work there. He loves it. He loves working with people, especially the employees, and making an impact on their lives, mentoring them through their lives. And, I think one of the challenges with a father-son dynamic in business, I think it comes down to communication. Sometimes you get so busy and you just don't take the time to communicate and to talk about things that may arise. And that's a constant thing that I find myself keeping in check, is communication.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to when we had your dad on. There was one thing that y'all talked about is, like, your dad always kind of bought into where you wanted to take the business, like as far as new ideas and stuff like that. And I think that goes back to your point of communication, is being able to communicate, hey, here's the vision that I see this going, where it's here right now, but I see over my lifetime it could be here.
Yes.
And selling that vision to someone that's been in it a long time. And it takes them, I feel like with your dad, the way he communicated, like, being open-minded to that is really important in that relationship.
I would agree. Yeah, and I think too, with my father, and Cory, you I don't know if you've experienced it. You probably have a little, because you've been up in some of the management meetings. There's times where me and my father disagree. I mean, we're both very when adamant about our ideas, and there's been times where we, people would from the outside would look at it as we're getting at each other pretty hard. But 10 minutes after our conversation, we're back to the drawing board, and we're going to come up with a solution that does work together. Me and my dad have a lot similar personalities. I'm realizing that the older I get. And so at times, it's there's the side of the mentorship where my father's always been willing to tell me the truth, even if if he disagreed and seen where something was going, he'd be willing to tell me. And sometimes it would hurt, sometimes it upset me, sometimes it frustrate me, but the whole reason was because he was trying to help me understand. He'd been through it, he had the experiences, and he's seen that I was going down the exact same path of something that didn't work for him. And there's been times where he's let me, and I had to learn, and I learned the hard way. And but yeah, just having somebody that in your corner, that when being young in business, you don't know what's all the challenges that are coming your way, and when one hits you out, you blindsides you. Having somebody that you can go to and say, hey, this is what I'm facing. Give me your insight. I need some help here. I need to help me understand this, because I'm not sure what to do, is very valuable to me. And I know there's a lot of people out there that don't have the opportunity. They don't have their fathers anymore and of that nature. So I want to acknowledge that it is a benefit.
Absolutely.
To me as a young business owner to still have my father here to mentor me. And I think y'all would agree with that we won't know what it's like until we don't have it.
Right.
And I've had many people recently tell me, take advantage of that, because the day it's not there no more, you're going to realize what you had.
Amen to that. Yeah, it's as sometimes it brings its challenges, but I love it. Love that relationship that I'm able to have with my father in business. And being a young business owner is really tough, but our fathers, when they started their business, they didn't have social media. They didn't have all these marketing platforms, and they had to truly hustle. Like, we think we have it hard. I think they had it tough, but I think and no matter at what time you start a business, it's going to have its unique challenges.
Being young in business, let's shift just a little bit to just us as business owners. So y'all came into, you've been in the business your whole life.
Yes.
I know that off and on, but you've been around it your whole life. But when you took over, what are some of the things that blindsided y'all, maybe that y'all weren't, if you can think of any, that y'all weren't prepared for, that hit y'all? I can for me, I can think of one. Back in 2015, I had a business that was with the transport business, and my father always told me, be careful when it comes to how much you bail out your team financially. Okay. Be careful. Well, being young in business, that's been 9 years ago, so I'd have been 23 years old, something like that. It felt good because I thought I was building good relationships with these guys by bailing them out at times.
Yeah.
What I learned the hard way was that all I was doing was actually kind of setting them up for failure. And when all that came crashing in together, where it kind of all, I guess you said, everything, the rubber hit the road, where it all came together, all of a sudden I realized that I have created yes men instead of people that truly cared about the business. And I remember my father back then telling me, he said, be careful with that. I'm telling you, you're doing something that's going to catch up with you. And I was like, no, man, these guys, we're having a good time. Everybody's bought into this. Well, the reason they was because of what I was doing, the way I was leading them. I was leading them, out of the side of, trying to think of the wording here. I was leading them with their paycheck instead of a purpose.
Yeah.
There you go. And it just all came crashing down, and I didn't file bankrupt in that company. I should have. Like I said, it took me 7 years to pay off that debt, but that was a big thing for me that my father, if I'd have listened to my father, I could have avoided. And today, we're all purpose driven now. It's completely flipped, and the results are unreal. And it's kind of what his idea was when he started the business was the same thing that we are doing today now, and it's working. So, is there anything like that y'all can think of that may have been that way for y'all a little bit?
Yeah. So there's I keep thinking back to the saying, "Are you their friend or are you their boss?" Mm-hmm. And I'm still dealing with some of that because I want to be their friend. I know I need to be a boss. Boss probably isn't the right term. I need to be a purpose-driven leader. But sometimes if you don't have the correct culture in business, those friendships can skew what needs to happen in the business. Mm-hmm. They can kind of skew the path moving forward. And so I would say, shame on me, but I've been more the type where I'm like, you need to do it this way. It's this way or the highway. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to become more intentional with building relationships, but still having that culture where at the end of the day, you have a task to do. Mm-hmm. We all do. Mm-hmm. And doing it with intention, not half-heartedly, and trying to build that good culture that's kind of centered around production, because at the end of the day, that's what makes or breaks a business.
Yeah, it's just, I struggled a lot with that too. Being young in business was a thing of them conversations that you have to have, the tough conversations. You said something about being friend or boss. I'm probably more on the other side for you. I'm more the guy that too many times tries to be the friend all the time.
Right.
But I've learned that you have to, if you truly love an individual that works for you, if you truly love them, you will be willing to say the tough things to them.
Yes.
You'll be willing to tell them when they're wrong. You'll be willing to give them the last 10% of the truth. We say that a lot around here. Give them that last 10% of the truth. Well, what is that? Well, the last 10% of the truth is when you don't sugarcoat a problem. Mm-hmm. You say it for what it is, because I want to see you be better. I want to see you get better. I want to see you improve. So therefore, I'm gonna tell you, Cory, or I'm gonna tell one of my team members that, Sean, this video sucks. Let's improve. It's not because you were bad at editing it. It's just because we have a standard to uphold, and I love you enough. You can do better.
Yes.
I'm just using that as an example. So don't get too upset at me. But yeah, I don't know if for you, Stanley, how do you deal with them conversations? Because like I said, being young is probably one of the things that I've seen across all young business owners is them tough conversations are some of the hardest things to have when you got to tell somebody the truth, and it's going to hurt a little bit. How do you handle them?
Well, it is tough. I mean, it can be really, really tough. But I try to see it from their perspective as well, and I try to kind of get on their level. Mm-hmm. Well, not level. We're all on the same page here.
Right.
We should all be on the same page. We're all pulling for the same goal. But also help them to try to see it from my perspective as well as a business owner, and help them to really see the intricate inner workings of a business and how a business runs, and help them to understand that in order for this business to be successful, ultimately, if this business isn't successful, nobody's successful. Mm-hmm. Nobody's getting paid. Me, anybody in the business. So, just trying to have that relationship with them and go through all the inner workings of a business. That's one thing I've been trying to do. And
because a lot of people don't understand it.
They don't
actually understand what's trying to happen, or what you're trying to accomplish. A lot of people are there for the paycheck. I mean, that's the truth of it. I mean, people, so yeah, I think that, making sure that they understand. I like that thought. They're making sure they understand the why behind what you're asking them to do.
Mm-hmm. And my dad, he's probably the master of that. Going back to him, I've had multiple workers come to me, and he'll talk to him. He'll tell them point blank. He'll say, "Hey, this is wrong in your life. You need to fix this. This will carry you to somewhere you don't want to go." And a lot of these people, they don't like to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, they'll come back here and say, "Man, you just can't be mad at him. You just can't be mad," because it comes from such a heart of love. Good and well, he wants the best for me. And I don't care if it is stepping on their toes. They'll say that, "Man, he stepped on my toes so bad, but I can't be mad at him because he loves me so much."
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Sometimes we need our toes to be stepped on.
Yes.
Even as business owners, we don't have everything together.
No.
And we need our toes stepped on, whether that's by a mentor or our fathers or co-owners.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes team members can step on our toes in a good way.
Kind of going right into that, just a thought hit me. How have y'all been able to, because let's just be very honest. You said something there at the end there that, it from the outside at times, people from outside of businesses think that, things are all rosy and we want to, man, I wish I could have that. And then me as a business owner, probably you at the same time, you're looking at, dude, you have no idea what behind the scenes, the mental drain that it takes to run a business, especially being young in business and trying to figure it out. Because the truth is, we don't let things go like, looking back 5 years ago, I let things go way more today than I did back then, as far as allowing it to dwell in my head. And when I walk through the house, when I walk through the door at night, I try to leave work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I used to not. My point being is, how do y'all deal with the people from the outside maybe viewing you as having it all together?
Yeah.
Because it is a little bit of that. I mean, let's just say it, because that's what it is. I mean, for me, I look at someone else's business, I'm like, man, they got it going on.
Right.
But there's people that probably look at our business and think, hey, we got it going on. I'm like, man, you just don't know.
Right.
You just don't know. So how do y'all deal with, all the, I guess, people looking at you as having it together, but in the back of your mind, you're like, man, if you only knew, because that's how it is. That's the truth. I mean, that's how it is for me, and I think it's that way for y'all as well.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's it depends, like how the people are thinking that you have it together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always like a good review, and I'm sure you guys do as well. But if people only knew some of the back workings of what creates what appears to be, hopefully it's that you to some degree have it together.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that's just a facade.
Yeah.
And but we're doing better. We're always striving for excellence in our business. And so when we first started in business as business owners, if you would have asked me if 10 people that I didn't know would have came to me with ideas and said, hey, I've got this idea I want to run with, I want to start a business, I would have told probably 8 of those 10 people, absolutely, start this business, you're going to do great. But now, if you would ask me now, I would probably say 3 or 4 or maybe just 2 of those people run with it, because business ownership is not for everybody.
It's not. Amen.
No.
I like that, because a lot of times we, when I was growing up, I was like, I'm going to be a business owner. And it was because people view it from a different, reasoning behind why I want to have a business. A lot of people, when you start out, I'll be honest, this is the way it was for me. I wanted a business because I like the paycheck. I like a bigger paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
That was what drove me at the beginning. And that's what brings a lot of people into businesses. They get sick and tired of working for what they call the man. So they go out and say, well, I have the skill to do it. They go out, start the business, and they're working, they're doing the job, which is, let's say, a plumber. They're doing the job, they're plumbing, and all of a sudden their business starts to grow because, hey, they did know what they're doing. They're doing a good job. When they go to these customers, their business starts to grow. They're like, man, I need an employee. They hire an employee. Next thing you know, they have to hire another and another. Next thing they know, they're no longer plumbing. They're having to run a business.
Right.
And they get shell-shocked into, hold up, I didn't know that this is what it took to run a business. I thought it was just do good at plumbing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the management side of it. And that's where a lot of people get caught up in well, this stress ain't worth the paycheck. And that's where I call people to the thing of, why are you doing it? Is it for if it's only for the paycheck, you're going to get burned out. It's going to come to an abrupt halt. It's going to come to an end, because money can only sustain your happiness but so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's facts. So you got to have a purpose behind that's bigger than the paycheck. If you don't, you will burn out.
Yes.
You will burn out. And so,
you said something about how with those 10 people, and how in the first you would say 8, go start it, but now it's kind of went back to 3. I think that shows a lot of growth, like in now you kind of understand what it takes day in and day out to do that. What are some of the key things that you feel like that you've invested in back into yourself as a young leader to kind of cultivate that growth? Stanley, do you want to take that one, and then we can toss it over to you? Is there any area that maybe like training that you would say, or books that's kind of helped you guys become what y'all? Because I've tasted the summer sausage, and that's a success, my friends.
Yeah, I think coaching and training is extremely important, or extremely valuable. I'll say that. I'm not a big book guy. I have never been my entire life. I'm more of a podcast and audio. Well, I say book. I'm more of an audio book guy. So,
you ever try to do both?
I haven't.
That's brilliant, man. I'm telling you, that's the hack. You put your earbuds in, get the audio book, and read it at the same time on about 2 times speed, and you'll be shocked how much it sticks to your mind, because you're listening to it and you're reading it at the same time, and you'll read that book so fast on 2 times speed. I promise you. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
I heard you say that in another podcast, and I was like, man, that sounds like a lot of stuff going on in this brain.
Maybe I'm just crazy. It could be.
Me and Stanley were driving to look at some equipment one time, and I turned the audio book on, and I think, did I have it turned up to, it was at least
2 times speed, yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, I was thinking it was 2.5 or 3. I've done that before, but it's pretty wild.
The speed works when you got a book, when you can read it. That's the way it works for me. If I get it too fast, it gets like my mind can't catch up to it. But if I got the words to scan at the same time, it's sticking at that faster speed. But anyway.
But yeah, there's just so much information out there today. You don't, if the pay looks big to hire a coach, look, there's free information out there. There's podcasts, there's YouTube. So much good information that you can take and apply to your life. And that's what I try to do. I listen to podcasts and just take nuggets from those things and try to get better at myself.
Mm-hmm.
Discipline in all areas of life is so, so important, just to be disciplined at something. I don't care what it is. If it's your diet, if it's your your physical fitness routine, to have a discipline that you can fall back on, and it needs to be something hard, something that you really don't want to do, but to carry that discipline throughout, it'll help you in your business as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that you said there's nuggets, because here I think sometimes with young leaders, at least I know, speaking from my experience, I can say this. You hear something, and automatically you're like, well, this is it. I'm going to completely change every aspect of my business just because I heard one podcast or I read this book. And I think it's so vital for young people to understand. I had it put to me like this: eat the chicken, spit out the bones. And so what that means is, there may be this little part of that talk that you can change, and don't just change everything. See how you can implement that idea into what you're already doing. And so it can kind of help, because too much change too fast for your people can freak them out. And
I think that's a great way to look at it, because I think that's an issue a lot of young business owners have. Is there is so many, there's a big positive to have all the information that's flowing, all the coaching, all the podcasts, all the books. That's amazing. Like my father said, if they would have had the level of teaching at the fingertips we have today, it would be remarkable where, he would have been, as far as that goes. But there's also the negative side of that, is there's so much that a young people in general, outside of just business, we jump the guns a lot quicker. And I see it a lot of times throughout my business life where this idea, like you said, I ate the bone, the chicken, everything.
And then you get indigestion.
That's right. Business. That's it. And the people can't keep up with it. It gets change. Change is good when it needs to happen, but it's bad when it's just something to change, just to change. And people are like, dude, where's the direction? What are we trying to do?
And it's not a bad thing. That's the one thing I will say. Change is a good thing. Where I think I fall into a lot of times in our business is sometimes I'm the brake man, and where a lot of guys, they'll get ideas and stuff, and I'm like, hey, let's just. It's not that I want to put the whole car in park. It's, hey, let's do it a little slower. Let's be slow, roll this out slower. That way everybody can kind of consume it, because there's been periods where in my life where I've been with people that it's like we get this one thing rolling, and then 5 weeks later, because they went to a conference or they did this or did that, all of a sudden we're complete 180 to another direction, and that gets weary for people, because it's like, well, I had everything figured out and I got it finally like rolling, but now I'm having to do a 180 and kind of totally redo everything. And so, but I do say coaching and the information is out there is awesome. That's the one thing I would tell people is just take nuggets of it, take small parts of the information and see how you can implement it into who you are. But Titus, what about you? What's some things that you've kind of helped you grow and develop into the person you are today?
Yeah. So, I've had a coach, a personal mentor in business for going on 7 years now. So even before me and Stanley purchased my father's company, that's been very, very beneficial. Just having somebody that doesn't mind shooting straight with you, that'll tell you if you're crazy, that'll tell you if you got great ideas, that'll reel you in, and sometimes push you hard to make a step, because I think sometimes, as much as we're chomping at the bit to grow our businesses and to roll out new ideas and new ways to grow, sometimes we also fall into analysis paralysis, where we just freeze in fear, especially when the going gets tough. And so just having that person, and it's a paid mentor, so sometimes, as good as free is, sometimes paid is good as well.
Yeah. For me, I have been doing coaching now, probably it's not quite 7 years, but that has been, you as individuals that are listening, you all have a good friend. You all have somebody that can pour back into your life. When you get down, or if you're working for somebody, they can pour into your life. But being a business owner, especially a young business owner, man, it gets lonely.
It does.
It gets real lonely at times. And not just lonely, but you feel like you're pouring out so much all day, all week, all month. Year goes by. But who is pouring into your life? Who is who's the individual that is pouring into Clinton, into Cory, into Titus, into Stanley? Who's the one that, where do we get fed, I guess you could say? And that's where the value for me comes in for coaching and things of that nature, is having people that are willing to pour into your life recharge you. I see it more and more every day, the value of having people that you can talk to that are in the grind, maybe not in your business, but in a business that are going through the things you're going through, that, you know, you can talk with, discuss things with, and sometimes just tell you, hey man, you're not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You're not crazy. What you're going through is real. Because there's days for me that I get in my head, man, and I'm like, am I just crazy?
Yeah, you get so close to the problem
Mm-hmm.
that you can't see the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And
A good coach will kind of shock you out of that.
yes.
You know, and that's what I've learned. You know, I got Jeff Myers, love the dude. He's
Solid.
really like changed my life, and I've had several coaches throughout the years. David Kaufman started me on coaching. We were only together for like a year, but he's the one that got the ball rolling for me, helping me understand the value of coaching. And then I had another coach, but Jeff is my coach right now, and just him being willing to, you mentioned, Titus, about telling you, being blunt with you at times, and saying, look, man, hold up a second. You need to chill out. This is not as big of a deal as it may seem. And then what I love about a good coach is a good coach won't tell you what to do. A good coach will help you within your own mind solve the issue.
Exactly.
Because it's actually, if you're owning a business, it's there. It's in
Mhm.
your mind. You just have, you mentioned the fear factor of it. You just have the fear to make the call because you're afraid. You're seeing it of the what could happen, the negative side of what could actually happen, and it's real. I mean, if it goes this way, I guess you could say we're screwed. But the
Right.
truth is, the chances of it going that way are 1%, but that's all you're dwelling on. 99% is going to be successful, but you see the 1% that what if, just what if that happens?
Mm-hmm.
I'm done. And so you lock up and you freeze. And so having a good coach, that's where the value comes in for me, is, you know, having someone speak back into my life, refuel me when I need it. And I think it even goes beyond that. Having friends, I'm on an advisory group every other week as well, where there's like 10 business owners get together and we discuss just what each of us are facing this week, next week, things that are coming up, and encourage each other. Hey man, you got this. I'm on a group text with a group of people I went to a retreat with. Get texts last week. We were texting this one lady. She had to terminate an employee, and she just texted everybody, said, hey, in 5 minutes I'm going to be in a real tough termination. Could y'all please all pray for me? That's the kind of things we got to have as young business owners.
That's right.
People in our corner. So I would encourage all the listeners, if you're young in business and you feel alone, you feel lost, there's people out there that want to be in your corner. I want to be in your corner. I think these guys want to be in your corner. So reach out. Start being willing to reach out to people, and you'll be shocked at how many people are willing to help you through it. So that's a long-winded answer, by the way. So
I think it's fine. That's something that I think, like you say, in relationships are everything. I was talking to a guy last night, and he was talking about, he was like, I'd love to come work for you guys. He was like, but he was like, it's one of them things. He's like, I just want to be at a place where I can get my work done and go home. And I was like, man, it's probably not the place for you then. I was like, because like all of us we're friends, and we built relationship with us. We're invested in each other's lives. I want the people I work with to succeed. I want you guys to succeed. So it's tough when it's not traditional as far as our business. We're very relationship wise, and that kind of leads me into my next thing. Having a healthy culture within your business is so important. How have you guys kind of cultivated that, kind of helped grow that? I'm sure your dad had a great influence in that. Like you've already spoke on how intentional he is with employees and stuff, but how have you guys put your own spin on y'all's culture as an organization on how y'all do things? Because I was looking over y'all's website and stuff, and I saw looked like some kind of values of what you guys kind of who y'all are, but can y'all speak on that just a little bit?
Yeah. So, and that's culture is probably in the business growth journey. Culture is one of those tough topics. That how do you build culture? It's not black and white, and so I think top-down leadership is pretty important, and so just being willing to put in the time, your team is going to see that. Sorry, somebody was calling in.
You're good.
So top-down leadership, just being willing to put in the time, but also caring for your people. Stanley, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we've talked about culture quite a bit. We're right at that stage where we haven't formally created culture building objectives,
right?
But I think there's been underlying culture creation.
Oh yeah, I would see it.
Yeah,
no doubt. Just from the outside looking in, I think definitely see it.
Yeah, it's and I would say part of that culture does also go back to the service that you provide your community. What good are you doing in the community? What impact are you having to better people's lives? And we're making people better by amazing products.
That's one thing I did want to bring up. I did see in my research, I did see how you guys are partnering with the Link and Coleman and making an impact in the surrounding community as well. And so, do you want to elaborate a little bit about that, or is that kind of still in the works kind of thing?
That's, for the most part, it has been launched. Now it's the PR part of it, getting it out to people. That program is specifically designed so that farmers can contribute to a good cause. And sometimes young farmers, especially now, young farmers, they have it really tough. Just to be frank with you, interest rates are high. Farming's an extremely capital-intensive business, and so how do you give? And this could probably tie back into our business as well, into business in general. How do you give when it's tough to give? You don't know if you give that $5,000, $1,000, $10,000. Where do you get it from? That's going to affect your profit and loss. So it's creating that avenue for farmers to give with the first fruits of their land, really, and make an impact in the community. So super excited about that awesome, program.
Man. That's good. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's I've done some work with the Link of Coleman, and they're solid people.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I kind of perked up. But that's what I think a lot of people, when it comes to culture, one thing people don't realize is you're in your business, you're building culture.
Yeah. No matter what.
Whether you intentionally do it or unintentionally do it. I say this a lot, and it's something I think Craig Groeschel says it. I think he was the first that said it, but culture is everything about what you build and everything about what you allow. And so there's a side of culture that it's, hey, yes, I want to have an organization that does give avenues for giving. For us, that we have a team mindset. We're a faith-based, we say that God is the owner of our business. We're just the managers. All those things, those are intentional acts, but also what we allow also sets culture.
Oh, absolutely.
At the same time.
Absolutely agree 100%. Yes. Yeah, for us, culture was something that I didn't really know much about starting a business. I'm going to be honest. Like, culture was something that was, to me, was just kind of foreign. My father, I realized looking back now, my father did have a great culture. I don't think my father talked about it as much as, we focus on it today. But, he did build a culture of being better, doing your best. His slogan was always, quality at its best and nothing less. And quality at its best isn't just quality in the product you make. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's important. That's very important. But quality in the way you speak to your customer, the quality in the way you answer the phone, the quality in the way when you deliver that barn, the way you respond to people, the way you act around a customer. Every aspect of the business have a quality mindset, meaning I'm going to do my absolute best at it. Mm-hmm. When it comes to accounting, I'm going to do my best at it. So that was a culture that we took, that my father had established, and we have just kind of built on that. Now we have a culture of not only doing our best, but, I guess we could say we found more of the why behind our culture, if you want to say, finding that why. And it's beautiful when that all starts to come together. And we're starting to see a little bit of that in our business. Is we're seeing it kind of start to come together, and it's something that I never imagined the power when I started my business. I never imagined the power of what a good culture will do. We had at the beginning of the year this year, we had a situation that arose we hired in a team member that really was focused on changing our culture. And there was times where we allowed that. I seen it start to leak in a little bit where some of the team wasn't. We're big about having fun. We're big about having fun in our business. That's one of our parts of our culture. And this individual didn't like that. This is business. We need to do business, and that's it. We don't need to be joking. We don't need to be having fun. And I will say that some of the team members started allowing their culture to shift towards that mindset. And I seen it happening, and I right away called a meeting with the leaders. I said, guys, our culture should be strong enough that if somebody cannot hold up to that culture, they'll leave. It'll force them out. Mm-hmm. A good culture will force out bad culture. Just will, as long as you stick to it.
Yes.
Well, when I allowed them and said, guys, you have to be the same, and if this individual if it's going to work, this individual will leave or be willing to adapt to the culture. It ended up being they couldn't handle it and they left. Mm-hmm. So our culture ran out bad culture. So that's why the value of. But if you have bad culture in your business, guess what you're going to absorb? More bad culture.
That's right.
So that's kind of the way we've adapted it. Stanley, on your end, when it comes to culture, what is something you would say that your father? I know you mentioned a little bit about your father, but that has translated over from when your father owned the business. That's really still embodied in your business when it comes to culture. I think I know what you're going to say, but I'll let you.
I'll be interested in here. Dad loved doing what he did, and I think that has kind of translated to me. He loved getting up and making good quality products, and that's what I love to do. I don't have to go to work. I get to go to work. I get to go in there and be a part of somebody. What's the best time of the day for me? It's mealtime, man. When I sit down for lunch and I eat a meal, and probably for most of us, it's a time where we just let everything lay, and we sit there and eat. And I get to be a part of that for somebody when I go in there and cut a big old juicy ribeye or make some summer sausage. And then I hear the stories about people coming in, and then this is probably the best part, where they come in and they say, "Man, that's some of the best product I've ever had in my life." And I gave my coworker some, and now I can't keep this stuff around, and I can't. I gotta hide it. But trying to get that culture to other people. There's a right way to do things, and there's a wrong way to do things. Just always take that right step. I think a culture always has a default setting, and if you're not actively pursuing that good culture, it will go back to the default setting. Usually, the strongest personality in that group will carry that culture, and
that's a good point, Stanley.
Sometimes that's, it can be. Well, I say no. It's usually not ever good, because you need to be intentional with that.
Have you ever noticed that you said that default setting, that most times it's the default is not all good for some reason that default culture, it's like the default is more of the bad culture. It seems to be, if you're not actually working on
That's
it.
right.
It defaults back to that.
Yeah, that's so true. Golly, I gotta do some self-evaluation now.
Yeah.
'Cause that's,
That was gold.
we had that situation happen on Friday. I need to go apologize to Brandon. 'Cause I had some default behavior that I'm not necessarily proud of. But no, I mean and it's so true though, because I'm very loud and very opinionated sometimes, and so there are times that when stuff like it hits the fan on situations, I kind of turn into a bull in the china shop, and me and Jimmy are working on that in my one-on-one, and you know that happens. You get where as Jimmy says it, I turn into a person who reacts and not responds, and reacts is the reason he tells me like that. Reacts is such a, hey, I'm just gonna go, and my body and my language is just reacting to the situation. But when I respond, it's a thoughtful, hey, I'm thinking through everything, and I say it in the way that it needs to be said. So yeah, that's a great point.
That was awesome, Stanley. Just the thing of now I got sitting here thinking, I said, so what's our default setting? Like in our business, I would encourage all business owners listening, find your default setting and you know where you need to work the most on in the culture. Because if your default setting is this, that means you can work on it. So find that. I'm going to be looking at that. Might be Cory may be the default setting. Anyway, well, guys, man, I appreciate it. We could talk about so much. The truth is, we're all business owners. You know, we sit here, we're having a conversation, we enjoy this, but every one of us, when we get done with what we're doing today, it's a Monday morning. We have to go get into the grind.
Yep.
We have to go get into what it takes. Honestly, what it takes for us to even be able to be sitting here. We wouldn't be able to if we weren't a business owner. It's 8:30. We would be required to be at a job right now.
That's right.
So there is a value. I want to say this. There is a value to starting your business. You know, the things that we talked about today, the negative things, that's just stuff we want people to know. But if you're out there and you're about to embark on starting your own business, you're young, there's fear involved, remember this, that you have to start somewhere. And you're going to fail over and over and over. The key to success, the key to an overnight sensation that took 20 years is to never give up.
Amen.
To never stop fighting. And you'll wake up one day and you'll be like, man, that hard work was worth it. You know, we still have a long ways to go. We're still young, and I don't think we've woke up and said the hard work is worth it yet in what I'm getting at into retirement and things of that nature. But I will say, looking back over the years now, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else owning a business. So if you're about to go into that journey, understand it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. You're going to have to there's going to be days you're going to want to give up. I know there's days that I still kind of want to give up. Just don't. Just keep fighting. Just keep going. Find people in your life that can pour good things into your life, and, you know, find people that have been through it. Don't find people that are trying to learn it. You know, yes, you want friends that are trying to learn it, but your mentors need to be people that have been through it. Listen to them. That's another key thing is, as a young business owner, we have a tendency to think we know the way, and we want to figure out the way. But the hack is, do what the people that were successful have done, and you'll be shocked how easy it's to repeat it.
Amen to that.
It's you know, they are successful for a reason. Yes, cultures change, times change, the way to do business changes. All that's important, and you need to be willing to continue to change. I look back at my life when I came into the business, and my father finally was willing to adapt to some change. I see myself now at 32 years old already starting to get kind of locked in my own ways, and so I need to be willing to continue to change as well. So that'd be another word of encouragement, is be willing to change as the times change. So Stanley, Titus, I want both of y'all, if you don't mind, to say something to the audience, an encouraging word if they are about to embark on the journey of owning a business, what is something that y'all would encourage them in? And I want to say this too: be God-centered, faith-centered business. I think we'd all agree with that. That needs to be make sure you're lined up to the will of God, because if you're not lined up to the will of God, yes, God allows, but make sure if you're lined up to the will of God, God promises in His Word that you'll be blessed. So that's to me, that's a no-brainer. But outside of that, what are some areas? Titus, I'll start with you. Stanley, I'll let you dive in then.
So everybody, if you're starting a business, you can bring value to the marketplace. So in whatever particular skill that you have. So I would say really be locked in on the value that you can bring to the marketplace. Mentorship. And if you're just starting a business, finances are tight. You don't have a lot of money to throw at mentorship. There's groups that you can plug yourself into that don't cost a lot of money. Great books like Stanley brought up. Plugging yourself into a support system, I think is key. And I think of 2 or 3 things in business that are extremely important to try to get right out of the gate. Financial management, having more of a practical application is your bookkeeping. That's pretty important.
It is. Yes, it is.
To nail that. And maybe you're not good at it. Well, find somebody that you can ask questions and become reasonably good at it until you can outsource that. And then just the culture that we talked about. If you're a young business person starting a business, culture may not be as big of a deal to you because you may be by yourself in this business venture. But definitely as you grow, work on culture, work on building that stickiness within your company.
Love it. Stanley?
Never forget your why. Never forget why you started to go down this journey. I think a lot of times our why is tied to something real deep down inside, something emotional, something that really gets us motivated to go forward. When we get into the thick of things, we start to question that why. We're like, man, this ain't worth it. This ain't worth it. But if you can get yourself to go back to those moments where in your mind, whether it was around a campfire where you were pouring out ideas, if you need to go back to a campfire, go back to that campfire. But when you had the idea for this business and you thought it was such a great idea and you were fired up and you were ready to go conquer it, go back to that moment. When you get into the thick of it, go back to that moment, reinvigorate yourself, redefine your why. Why am I doing this? And get back on board with that. And then go just kick tail and get after it. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of hard work.
Patience.
Patience. That's right. Patience and hard work, and go be successful, man.
Yeah, it's out there.
It's out there.
You can do it. I mean, there's people out there that tell you American dream's dead. I want to let you know they're wrong.
That's right.
That's what you call. That's the definition of wrong.
100%.
So I want to now dive into the verse of the day, and it kind of goes really well with transitioning out of what we're talking about, and that's found in Matthew 6, verse 19 and 20. It says, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, where thieves do not break through and steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." And I think this goes so well with the topic today of Stanley just mentioned finding your why. When we are working, we're working really hard and we're trying to build up a savings account. Why do we want a savings account financially? Well, it's for when times get tough or we have something we're saving for. But especially focusing on when times get tough, are you storing up financial things for them times? Well, so is it in every aspect of life when it comes to business, being a leader. You need to store up in the good times, get them mentors, get them people pouring into your lives. So you're storing up a savings account for when the wolf comes, when the tough times comes, in your leadership. You know where to go. You know where to fall to. Also, you know, it talks about laying up treasures on earth. You know, make sure that you're not doing it for just this time on earth. Are you doing it for generations? Are you doing it for the kingdom of God? You know, make sure that your why has him tied into it in your business. Make sure it has God as the center focus of it. Because if it's not, it says here very clearly that moth and rust will destroy it. So have a bigger purpose than earthly treasures, and build them things up in the tough times or in the good times. Build yourself up for when the bad times come, financially, spiritually, physically. You know, all them things are very important that we lay up for them tough times. Spiritually, especially. Think about it, guys. When tough times come spiritually, have you been read up? Is your savings account full that you can go to in the midst of temptation, in the midst of things you're facing, and have a source, I guess you could call it your emergency fund for your soul? I like that. And so I just love that verse. Let's find, you know, it falls right into our purpose with our podcast. It's lead with purpose. Make sure that you're doing things for a reason and for a purpose behind it. And I promise you, you will be surprised at how much success that brings. So, guys, thank y'all so much for coming on, man. The meat was absolutely amazing. Guys, check out Weaver's Meat Processing. They make some of the best meat in the market. I promise you, it's amazing. That's where I get all my stuff done. Actually was able to harvest a deer for Saturday night. It's actually probably over in their cooler as we speak. So check them out if you want some amazing summer sausage, you know, jerky. You name it, they got it. So check them out. We'll throw up their information on the screen here. One other thing as we close this thing out, I got to call it out. We hit 60,000 subscribers as of yesterday. Thank you. It's amazing. God bless you. This is all for him. Make sure you like and share it so it continues to grow, continues to go out there so we can affect people in the positive way, because God gets all the honor and glory for this thing. Yep. This is nothing between me and Cory. This is all the good Lord. And we just love that y'all are willing to listen to it and willing to continue to push it out there. We never dreamed it would get as big as it is. I know we say it all the time. You'll probably get tired of hearing it. But, Cory, I mean, it just continues to blow my mind. That's the biggest thing, and just the opportunities it's opened up for me and you. Oh, that's unreal. And the biggest deal that I keep telling people is it's about what Jesus has done in our lives and what he continues to let us experience and see, and we're just honored to get to share our story. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Love you guys. Like and subscribe. Keep flowing it out there. And always remember that no matter what you do in life, always lead with a purpose, and we can change this world. God bless you. We love you. See you next time. Yeah, give me some of that meat over there. You want another piece? Okay. Yeah, give me some more. I'll pass that over there. Peace out, guys. Love y'all. Hey guys, thank you so much for being with us today. We're so excited to continue this season. Make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify. And make sure to leave us a comment. We would love to hear your thoughts. And remember, always lead with a purpose.